Hey everybody and welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can actually check and see if values exist in your database in Appgyver. And we're going to be doing this without any coding and we're going to make it really quick. So let's jump straight in. So we are using the community edition of Appgyver. I have tons of different video tutorials on my website at codelessfix.com. But right now we have a Firestore database with all of these different things pulled up. So you'll see that in this list, which is in Firebase, we have a couple of different items, and I want to figure out, does an item exist in this list? So you'll see right now I'm saying, does it exist? And it's showing false. But if I type in a name that is in the list, like this one here, it'll say true. So it's a pretty straightforward formula for this. So you'll see we have the page right here in Appgyver. So what I have here, we have the first option, which is going to be the input box. The second option is going to be the title, and then the third option or item is going to be the button. And for this, we have a couple of variables. So in our page variables, we have search and search to. So really all we need to do is in our input box, we bind it to the search variable by choosing the page variable from the dropdown. Then for the title, we're going to bind it to the search to variable by finding the data variables, page variable, and then just calling it search to. Now, lastly, we have our button. So you can name your button whatever you want. And then what you're going to do is open up the logic button or logic container down here. And you're going to drag over set page variable, and then you're just going to connect it right here. So once you've done that, you can click on set page variable, and then you're going to choose page variable search to. And once you've selected that, we're going to type out a formula. Now the formula is going to be a little bit different for you, and you'll see that it's red right now, and that's just because we have the text variable instead of a true or false, but it's not going to cause any issues. At least it's not for me. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through a couple of different options here and kind of walk through the way that this is set up so you can modify this formula for yourself. Now, if we were to cut the formula completely and try to come up with it by ourselves, we would need to know a couple of things. The first thing is the data variable that we are looking at. So this may look familiar. If I paste this back in, you'll see the data variable is right here, and that is what's right here. Now, another important thing to note is as you're scrolling through your data variable, you're going to see all of these different elements which appear in your data variable here, like name, fields, brand, etc. We see all of that over here as well. Now you're going to need to make sure that you're paying attention because name could be the name or the URL up here, or it could be a name contained within your actual data itself. For example, as we're scrolling through, we see data, light roast, which is like coffee, fields, image. And if we click it, we see examples. And if we choose the string value, we see examples over here. So that's pretty straightforward. Now the idea is we have to have our data variable first. So you can have multiple data variables. So you need to find basically like that core data variable. Then we need to figure out what are we going to search by for this formula. So as we're going through, you'll see we have items, fields, name, string value. So let's go find that. We go to our data variable and we know, okay, we're looking through the light roast because we're looking for a light roast coffee. We know it's called light roast 1. Now we know that we want a value within this giant object. So you'll see we have options like name, brand, image, notes. So we're going to go to the fields because that's where all the data is contained. Once you've selected this, you can scroll through and see which one you're interested in, and then you can just find it. So fields.name or fields.name and actually just pull the string value itself. So then you can find this, and basically when you double click it, it gives you something to highlight and copy. So now we know that we're pulling from this, basically this list or object, and we know that we're pulling this. So we can go build this out together. Now, one thing to note is when you're doing that with the data, if it's not the most updated data, you can go to the data tab. And when you're in the data tab, you can go to that data resource and just basically what you can do, I'll show you really quickly, is you find the data resource wherever it may be. And then once you open that, so for example, if we opened the medium dark roast, when you open it, the menu is going to appear and you can just run a test and then click set schema from response, which will essentially enable you to update all of the data in your app so that it then appears in the various screens. So now let's go back here. So again, this is what we're basically trying to build out. So we have this first part, we know we're looking for the second part, but we need to figure out how to actually build it. So when you go to the list screen here, you'll see we have all of these different options. So you can scroll through, and I'll just paste it up here just to show side by side what we're looking for. So basically we're looking for exactly one in this case, but you could use different options for this. So as you scroll through, if we click on exactly one, you'll see that it shows right here, checks if one item is in a list and if it matches. And then it gives you an example object here, and you'll see it shows exactly one, and then it's showing animals, which would be the option right here. And then item name equals blank. So in this case, what we've done is we've set exactly one, but we've specified, instead of it being this animal array that doesn't exist, what we're doing is you can double click here and it'll give you the formula options if you want, or you can follow along with me. So you'll see it's exactly one. And then the first option is data dot whatever your resource is, comma, space. And then we're using item dot fields dot name dot string value. When you highlight this, you'll see examples over here. And then you'll do space equals equals space, and then the page variables for search. Now to find that an easier way, if you're interested, you can just go up here to page variables and double click the one that you want, and it will automatically add it in. And then we have the closing parenthesis. And that's really all that there is to it. So now we're going to click save and show the app will refresh over here. So when it refreshes, we can go to Coffee Finder, Light Roast, and now we're going to type in amazing coffee name. Does it exist? And it says true. If we take off the E, it says false. And this is one of the apps that's available at codelessfix.com. You can actually buy the template from that you can import into Appgyver and modify yourself. But that's everything that there is to it. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment box below, and I'll see you all in the next video.